Welcome. We are live in Sarasota, Florida. We had a rough start. Our encoder reset right before we were going to go into broadcast. So we are already a few points into this game. Blackbird up 2-1. Here we see Blackbird in possession of the disc on defense. Blackbird from San Francisco taking on inter-city rivals, Polar Bears from San Francisco. That disc pops up, and a great grab right in front of Marliov. The goal goes to Tommy Hendrickson as the disc pops in the air, and he is able to get the second effort goal.
That's the first break of the game. Previous points, all downwind offense. There, the first turn, throw a little wide, the Polar Bear cutter. And Blackbird able to find Tommy Hendrickson in the end zone. Actually, his cut was in the end zone. It was just short of the end zone, and then the throw went up. It was macked up into the air. And then he's able to come down with it and get the first break for Blackbird. So they take the lead, 3 Polar Bears 1.
Andrew Hagan set to pull for Blackbird.
Hagan sporting the pants, shorts over the pants.
Yeah, he has been dealing with a hamstring injury, just trying to keep those legs warm and loose. We've been seeing him wearing pants all weekend, even in this hot Florida weather. Anji Sao with the disc, goes to the sideline. Dahlman up to Naruo. A Raider with the backhand, upwind, just out of the reach of Daniel Naruo.
Naruo, fast player, athletic player. They're going to be looking a lot to him to run much of their offense through. Got a foul called on the mark. Blackbird looking for their second break in a row. Blackbird, of course, won nationals last year.
And the Polar Bears won it the year before that, both teams winning it in their first year as a program.
This is a matchup of last year's finals. Blackbird coming out on top, 16-15. There's Hagan with the deep ball. Disc is hanging just off the fingertips. Raiders swings to Kearns. Kearns throw a little low.
Blackbird with a short field to get their second break in a row.
There's the lefty, Dan Hodges, marked by Naruo. And Tommy Hendrickson scores his second consecutive goal. Blackbird taking the lead on Polar Bears. 4-1. Blackbird won nationals last year, looking to win for the second consecutive year. Both these teams out of the Southwest region. 5 bids allocated to that region. Blackbird 4th at regionals, getting the 11 seed coming in. Polar Bears, of course, the 1 seed. However, this Blackbird team, although they're seated low, they know what it takes to win a national championship.
pull for Blackbird.
Corey Lee set to pull for Blackbird, pulling upwind. And we see a zone look from Blackbird.
That's Maddie Sung to Miller, back to Sung. Centers to Miller. Sung with it now. Sung, big fake, trying to move that defense around, find some lanes. Now Miller. Clay Miller playing his college days at Cal Berkeley. Throw goes up. Dan Hodges is there. Dan Hodges goes up and D's it. Blackbird trying to ride their momentum, looking for a 5-1 lead on Polar Bears. And Hodges not wasting any time. Boosts it right away. Enormous bid. Number 26, that's Corin Lee. Then it pops up, looking for Lee in the end zone, and Lee making his second spectacular grab this point. All four observers with their hands in the air, signaling goal. Blackbird hugging it out. They're feeling it right now.
A quick correction, that is Daniel Gillick making the two plays. A big layout on the upwind throw. Dan Hodges just from the end zone line, not wasting any time trying to get it upfield.
Wow, that is a very spectacular play there from Dan Gillick. And his second play going up, getting it over Kevin Cox. And Polar Bears taking a timeout, trying to slow down Blackbird. We will also be taking a break. Bring you more first half action here in Sarasota.
Welcome back to Sarasota, Florida. Next Gen Network's cover of mixed finals here at the 2012 USA Ultimate Championships. This stream brought to you by the Encoded by Elemental Technologies. Elemental Technologies has been sponsoring and working with Next Gen for the past year.
Tommy Hendrickson to pull for Blackbird.
Blackbird opening up a big lead to start this game. They're up 5-1. They get the upwind break, second of the game.
The wind isn't as strong today, but those upwind breaks are still very important.
That's Hubbard to Kircher. Back to Hubbard, marked by Hodges. Hubbard with the around break to Sue. Back to Hubbard. And Hubbard ripping it right away.
Two Blackbird defenders, and a great play
by Elijah Kearns. He burns a timeout right outside the goal line.
Eli Kearns goes up high to bring it in for
Ben Hubbard putting a good backhand upwind.
Calls timeout.
And Eli Kearns keeping the defenders on his back. Great defensive play, and they really want to punch in this offensive point upwind.
Eli Kearns, former Junior Worlds player, going up with two hands, making the grab. Had a beat on that one. You know, the difference between these two teams, Blackbird doesn't practice a whole lot throughout the season. They're a much more tournament-based team, working together at tournaments. And the contrasting Polar Bears, they practice together a lot. Been a top team all year in this mixed division. You can see them frequently in finals. Blackbird relying on their talent, their experience, their knowledge of how to win games. Polar Bears trying to grind this one out. Kearns with the disc.
For Polar Bears after that timeout. Corey Lee on the mark for Blackbird.
That's Corey Lee on the mark. Sets up with a backhand mark. Swung to Hubbard, marked by Hodges. Nice poach in the lane. There's Daniel Naruo with the second goal of this game. Stops Blackbird's momentum.
Yeah, and they took a timeout before that point even started. A very important offensive point for them as they were working the disc upwind. Now they get a chance to get their defense on the field. And Blackbird is working upwind, so an easier break opportunity for Polar Bears. It's still early in this game. We've seen some great comebacks here this weekend. I would not count Polar Bears out yet.
That play, Naruo cutting at the front of the stack. They're isolating him, and Charles Denby marking him. All these players out of San Francisco, they frequently play against each other.
Offensive line for Blackbird going upwind. June Cithano, Adam Hagen, Nick Slovan, Brian Garcia, Eli Janin, Karen Brimacombe, and rounding out the line, Sally Mims. Sally Mims already with 2 goals in this game. Garcia and Janin leading the handler core. Upfield to Hagen.
That core of handler core of Garcia and Janin. Many throws in the top club tournaments, top open teams. Garcia played open with Revolver. Janin with Rhino.
Now Hagen in the center of the field. Goes back to Janin. A pick is called.
Clay Miller with the pick call. Miller and Janin played against each other in college. Janin out of Oregon. That's Clay Miller from Cal Berkeley.
Hagen lefty backhand. Upfield to Garcia. Garcia, good break throw. Finds Slovan. And a pick called. Slovan is going to keep possession of the disc just outside the goal line.
Advantageous position here for Blackbird. Slovan without a mark.
Kevin Cox on the mark.
There's Hagen streaking. Wow. Definitely some contact. We're getting a foul called.
We do have a foul on the play.
Hagen calling the foul. Kevin Cox kind of stepping off the mark to prevent the short throw. And as he jumps out, Andrew Hagen just comes right into his legs. These teams used to playing each other a lot. Same section, same region, and I'm sure they go to a lot of the same tournaments.
I don't think Cox saw Hagen cutting up line. He created a lot of contact. You can see surprised at Hagen's presence. Slovan puts it up to Janin. Blackbird turnover. Now Miller picks up, marked by Janin.
Is that the first Blackbird turnover we've had this game?
I believe it is.
So Polar Bears with a chance to get one of those downwind breaks back, and just out of the hands of Greg Marliov.
Garcia is fortunate there as he kind of gave up on defense, sitting deep. Stopped, realized his man was too deep.
Yeah, the wind pushing the disc a little bit faster than it might normally come out. As we've said, wind not as strong as some of the games we've watched earlier this weekend, but still having this upwind, downwind game. Blackbird currently working the upwind side, upwind field.
Quick movement from Blackbird's offense. Garcia, the captain of this team, finding Slovan in the middle of the field. Slovan up to Mims. Mims to Garcia. Garcia looking for that inside break to Hagen. There is a call on the field.
Counts in on 0. Boo with the disc for Blackbird.
Now live. Garcia to Janin, marked by Miller.
Call.
Janin calls the foul.
Contest, disc in on 0. Janin with the disc. Miller on the mark.
Uncontested foul coming in at 0. Garcia going inside, gets the receiver.
That's Mims. Mims burns a timeout.
Sally Mims picks it up.
Players take a break. We will also be taking a break. Join us for the conclusion of the first half of the 2012 Mixed National Championships. Welcome back to Sarasota, Florida. Polar Bears right on the goal line. Excuse me, that's Blackbird right on the goal line, looking to punch this one in.
Sally Mims with the disc, and immediately
she breaks around to Brian Garcia. Garcia right at the front of the stack. Blackbird taking the lead, 6-2 on Polar Bears.
Garcia puts it in for the first score.
Garcia just going to the dead side, running away from his defender,
6, Polar Bears 2.
and it's relying totally on the thrower to put that one to him. No problem for Mims to get around the mark.
As the mark there coming out of the timeout, you can't allow a throw like that, especially in the red zone. Even a 2-yard gainer on the around break is gonna result in a goal. You have Garcia right at the front. They're clearly isolating him. You have to take a step around. Mims easily pivots. Her throw was barely pressured. Polar Bears needing to tighten it up on their marks.
Polar Bear with an opportunity at that point to get the break. They had a drop in the end zone.
Tommy Hendrickson to pull for Blackbird.
Very costly drop because now the Polar Bears offense having to work upwind. And as the day moves on, we start to feel the wind get a little bit stronger here on the fields.
O-line for Polar Bears, Kircher, Shanker, Sue, Kirkland, Dahlman, Adam Rady, number 12, Eli Kearns. Kearns and Rady doing a lot of handling. Earlier in the game, mistakenly called Rady Hubbard. That is Rady with the disc. Now Kircher with it. Kircher to Sue, to Dahlman, to Shankar. Now Dahlman ripping the backhand, putting it out to space. The wind kills that one, however. Blackbird now with an opportunity to go up another break, push their lead to 5. That throw from Dahlman started with an outside-in edge, and it seems like right as Dahlman threw that, the wind picked up. It's definitely blowing a couple miles an hour faster, which could change the angle that you need to throw. Put a bit more spin on it. Now Hodges with it, marked by Dahlman. That's Gillick to Hodges, to Hendrickson.
Foul called on the throw. It's going to go back to the...
No contest.
That's Susan Bachelder with the foul call. No contest from Sue. Just goes deep, and Rady with the D.
Fantastic D by Rady, stopping the huck before it's able to get all the way downfield. Now Polar Bears about halfway until they can get it in the end zone.
Rady to Hubbard. Hubbard ripping the back end, looking for Dahlman. Hendrickson's there, so is Hodges, and Dan Hodges going up, making a play on the disc. I don't believe Dahlman saw Hodges there.
Dan Hodges goes up.
Might have felt his presence, but didn't see that he was there. He knew that Hendrickson was there. Looks like Hodges just reads it better and explodes to the disc, creating a D. Now Hendrickson with it. Dan Hodges, pump fake.
Missed throw, but good presence on the field from Blackbird.
Chang with it. Bachelder. Hendrickson. Hendrickson putting the inside out. And a huge grab from Nat Kinsey going up over Eli Kearns. Kearns making a big grab earlier in this game.
Blackbird with yet another break, taking this game 7-2.
We did see it in the Masters final yesterday. Teams are able to come back. Of course, Surly came back on Boneyard after being down 9-5. Then they go on a 6-0 run. Take the lead 11-9. They push forward and get victory. Polar Bears need to tighten it up on defense.
The wind really starting to gust.
Yeah, unfortunate.
This game is going.
Unfortunate for Polar Bears during that play. Dahlman with the backhand. Seems like the wind picked up as he threw it. As I said before, as the wind picks up, you need to put more inside out on it, more spin on it. And the players, it's like Blackbird is burning its final timeout. So as the players take a timeout, we will too. Join us for the conclusion of the first half.
Welcome back to Sarasota, Florida, the 2012 mixed finals here at the Club Championships from USA Ultimate. Blackbird currently up 7-2 on inner city rivals Polar Bears.
That's Lee with the pull. Kearns with it. Kearns to Naruo. Naruo strong pivots.
Upfield to Rotor.
We do have a travel called that will come back. It was on the previous play. Naruo. It's this throw up line to Scott Rader.
Yeah, unfortunate for Polar Bears. Even if the observers overrule the travel, it's still going to stay at Scott Rader. They won't get the continuation to the goal.
The observer rules that robot did not travel. The disc advances to it.
So the observer rules no travel. Rader going to have it on the sideline.
Center now with Kearns, and Kearns putting it up to Dahlman. Hendrickson's there. Dahlman going up large, bounces off his hands. He's not happy with himself.
Yeah, Dahlman having to go up early with Tommy Hendrickson there to contest it.
Dahlman gets up on that point, just can't grab it. Now Lee with it, marked by Naruo. Lee not wasting any time, putting it deep to Hendrickson. Hendrickson unable to close the gap or track that one down. Polar Bears get possession again. There's Naruo. It's Dahlman with the backhand outside in Huck. It rides the wind. Going in that direction, much easier backhand from Dahlman. He throws it downwind. He was trying to throw that one previously. Upwind, unable to convert. Here, finds Naruo.
And Dahlman does a good job there, not trying to throw it the furthest he could. He put some touch on it so Naruo can make a play on it instead of throwing it out the back of the end zone, which we've seen a lot with these strong winds.
Now Kearns with it. Looking for Rader. Rader big pivots, lots of pump fakes. Looking for Naruo. Naruo cutting up line to the live side, changed his direction as Raider decided to throw.
Corey Lee picking up the disc for Blackbird on a good side of the field for this win. Likes to take the first pass in the center.
It's Kinski to Shiva. Big possession-saving grab from Lee. Lee puts it up to Hendrickson. Hendrickson around. Oh my. That's Kinski maintaining possession. Jumped a little early, but able to go up after Naruro tries to D it. Now Hendrickson putting it deep to Lee. Lee's there. Brings it down. Lee surveying the field. Lee to Hendrickson. Hendrickson inside. It rides the wind. Raider there.
Raider gets a finger up for the Polar Bears D.
Dahlman with it in the middle. Polar Bears looking to get their third goal of the game. Now Naruro on the sidelines, marked by Kinski. Kinski centers to Kearns. Gains a few yards there. Dump. Back over to Roeder. To Kearns. On the sideline to Dahlman. There's a wide open Polar Bears cutter. Polar Bears elect to not throw it. Naruro with it on the sidelines. Nearly at the brick. Now right at the brick. Kearns. Back to Lee to Kearns. To number 71.
Pollock Shaw with the goal. Polar Bears, great offense after they get the disc with 70 yards to go. It would have been a break into half for Blackbird, but good, smooth movement from the Polar Bears after they get possession.
It was smooth after they got the disc, but throughout the point, the wind's picking up. These throws are getting a lot harder. Multiple turns from each team.
Polar Bears on a very important defensive point. Their defensive line, Alexa Kirkland, co-captain Greg Marliov, Lisa Pitcatley, Clay Miller, Simon Higgins, Kevin Cox, and Palak Shah on the line again. Upwind pull, hits about at the brick and rolls.
Garcia picks up, centers to Janin, back to Garcia. Slovin streaking across. Garcia looking at Janin. Garcia to Slovin, and a drop from Slovin. However, he's calling foul. There will be some discussion. I don't know about that one. Slovin clearly dropped it before.
I believe he's calling a foul on the second effort, but still
looked like there could have been some contact, but I don't know. Why not just catch it the first time?
Higgins asked the observer to make the call.
This would be a big turn opportunity for Polar Bears. A turn with about at the brick mark, so they'd be almost in the red zone. And going upwind, this could be a 2-point swing.
Foul is called. Observers make a ruling.
Observers rule contested. Foul. They don't make a definite ruling, so it's just going to go back to Garcia. That's got to be a big blow for Polar Bears right there.
Yeah, opportunity to break with a short field upwind. Now Garcia putting it deep to Hagen. Hagen's there, reaches out right outside the goal line. Hagen looking for Janin up the line. Janin right there. Janin with the goal, and Blackbird.
Travel
there
called
is a travel
on the
call. Janin celebrating immediately. He's almost on the other sideline.
We have a couple.
I am 1 over 500.
Server uphold call.
Observer upholds the travel call. So Hagen still in possession of the disc just outside the goal line. If Blackbird scores, they take this game into halftime.
Coming in on 4.
Hagen, high count, this time finds Janin. No calls. Blackbird gets the goal and goes into half 8-3.
That's a huge lead for Blackbird. Up 5 goals, only 7 points to go. If Polar Bears want to win this game, they're going to have to score 12 times in the second half. As long as this game isn't capped. Lots and lots of work ahead for Polar Bears.
Yeah, and I think a huge turning point in that point is on the contested call back on the turn. It would have been a short field for Polar Bears. They would have had the opportunity to get the break, and when Brian Garcia gets it back, the first thing that he does is throws it deep. He knows that Hagen's there, but one way or another, he doesn't want to give up another short field turn. It works out for them in the reception, but that is something where I feel like the observers need to make a definitive call. It works out for Blackbird, though, as they're able to take this into halftime. Again, we'd like to thank Elemental Technologies for encoding this game here at the 2012 USA Club Championships. We are covering mixed finals. Be sure to switch to the second stream. You'll need to go to a second stream on your YouTube browser. Come back here for the exciting second half on the Next Gen Network.
Welcome back to Sarasota, Florida. Next Gen's coverage of the 2012 mixed finals. Blackbird up 8-3. Topher Davis, I'm Jackson Kelsey. And during halftime, we were able to get inside Polar Bears huddle. Let's hear what they have to say.
We came back from that. We're about to go up 8-4. Stop looking around. Stop looking at each other. Stop looking at yourself.
The second half.
Take it personally. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, man.
That's Dahlman getting his team fired up. A lot of players on Polar Bears sideline walking around. Seem like they've already lost the game. Dahlman trying to fire his team up, saying how they were down 9-3 at sectionals. They came back from that. Now Dahlman with the disc. Blackbird in a zone. Kearns with it, marked by Hodges. 3-man cup. It's Lee in the middle, Hagen playing deep. Cathely. Kearns, hammer over the top to Roeder. Hagen with a big layout. That's Palak Shah. I don't know if Hagen touches that D. It doesn't look like he does.
No, that disc just catches the wind and goes over the head and through the hands of Palak Shah.
Something you'd call a phantom D. There's Hodges, centers to Lee. Lee marked by Roeder. Lee to Hodges. Hodges big backhand fake, centers to Lee. Now Hodges with it up the line. Hodges puts the backhand. It catches some wind. Dahlman's there. And Palak Shah gets the D back for her team. Kearns on the sidelines to Dahlman. Blackbird looked like they were trying to set up their zone. They don't. There's
lot
Floater.
of confusion for the Blackbird defense. Now it seems like they've matched up as Kearns is just on the goal line. Finds Lisa Picathly in the end zone. Coming out of half, Blackbird, Polar Bears
somersault
able to get their first goal.
from Kearns. He's excited, trying to get his team fired up, trying to feed off that energy from Dahlman during his halftime speech, telling people to take it personally, look at your teammates, look at yourself. And Polar Bears respond, coming out of halftime. I don't know if that was a somersault. I might call that a combat roll.
I'm sure you've had years of training in your combat roles.
There's Dahlman. Yeah, many combat roles. There's Dahlman talking to his team some more, asking them to dig deep into their tank, bring it back, see if they can get an upwind break here.
Yeah, the wind so far, it's been keeping this mostly an upwind downwind game, but nothing too crazy for the teams trying to work it upwind.
That's the thing. If Polar Bears is able to get this upwind break, much easier to get a break downwind. There's an argument of whether or not it's easier to come back from a big deficit in a windy game. Oftentimes when there's not much wind, you have to take the D, you have to get the Ds. You can kind of rely on the wind. Here's Jannon with it, marked by Miller. Jannon forehand, cross field to Slovin. Now Jannon with it. Miller calls pick.
Pick is called, but the disc is going to stay. Miller just catching up his position on the field.
Jannon to Hagen. Now Jannon with it in the middle. Jannon surveys the field. Finds June Srinthil. It's a difficult name to pronounce. Now Slovin with it and scores. However, there's a travel call. It will come back.
Travel called.
Travel called, and we see Clay Miller getting fired up.
Jannon does lift his foot. Looks like the observers will be making a call.
Observers are ruling that it is a travel.
Opposed the travel call. Just coming back to Jannon.
Jannon all smiles.
Where's the count?
Jannon looking to the end zone. Now turns to Garcia for his dump. Puts it up to Garcia. Garcia looking for Mims. That's Brimacombe with the goal. Blackbird converts the offensive downwind point. Polar Bears unable to create a turn.
Maybe in the end zone for Blackbird. Blackbird 9.
Smooth offense from Blackbird. And Garcia able to find a wide open receiver in Brimacone. She breaks easily to the live side. These teams very familiar with each other. As we've said, a lot of times playing against each other. And I'm sure there's a big rivalry. We've already seen not an outrageous amount of calls, but there's certainly the observers are getting their job done in this game, having to do a lot, as both teams are going to be making a lot of calls and trying to bring themselves in the game that way sometimes.
It's definitely a new thing to Ultimate, us being able to have replays, go back and see what actually happened on the field. You can really see if observers are making the right calls. We've seen there's definitely been some missed calls this tournament. Overall, observers doing a good job here at the 2012 Club Championships. There's Hendrickson. That pull sails out of bounds. Hendrickson played for UCSD Squids.
Better stick up for theirs and put the disc in play from the middle of the
Roeder brings it to the middle of the field. Polar Bears in a horizontal set. Spicathley with the drop.
Bears turn.
Excuse me, that's Spicathley.
Corey Lee to pick up for Blackbird.
Now Lee picks up, marked by Naruo. Naruo nearly a D. Does affect the throw.
Coleman picks up after the Blackbird turn.
It's a turn by Blackbird. Then Roeder putting it deep to Kearns. Kearns strides it out, catches it in front of Lee. Another combat roll. And the kick spike,
The big flip in the end zone.
converting the offensive point, trying to get his team fired up, not only with his plays, but with his celebration. You can see Kearns totally full out speed.
Yeah, and a beautiful throw by Scott Roeder. Again, we've seen a lot of people overthrow their receivers going downwind, and Roeder putting that disc a little bit higher than maybe he would throw it to give it plenty of float, give Eli Kearns a lot of time to catch up and get under the disc, and it finds him in stride in the end zone line. After an unfortunate drop, Polar Bears' offense recovers and looks very smooth coming back.
D-line for Polar Bears. Sue, Kirkland, Kircher, Miller, Higgins, Wordle.
Marliov is the one who pulled for Polar Bears. Greg Marliov, co-captain of this Polar Bears RAR team.
Jannon picks up the pull, went out of bounds. Jannon marked by his college teammate Josh Wordle.
I've been waiting for this matchup all
Very
day.
fun matchup for us at Next Gen. Jannon with the break. Slovin on the sideline, back to Jannon. Jannon to Garcia. Garcia putting it up. Higgins is there. A huge bid from Higgins. Just short of the disc. Now Slovin looking towards the end zone. Slovin to Garcia. Looks like there's some confusion as to whether or not it was up or down.
Away from the disc.
Excuse me, there's a foul call on that matchup of Eli Jannon and Josh Wordle.
So the foul is called before the throw goes off, so it would stop play. It looks like Eli Jannon was calling the foul.
Eli Jannon trying to get in the head of Josh Wordle. A fiery player. Now Slovin with it, marked by Higgins. Jannon right at the front of the stack.
Takes a short pass to Garcia. Garcia in a high count. Just gets it off to Jannon.
We do have a call on the field.
Greg Marliov is calling the foul. Observer rules that it's not a foul. It'll stay at Jannon.
Disc advances. Jannon with the disc for Blackbird. Wardle on the mark.
Blackbird still just outside their end zone. They haven't been able to get it past that small corner, but Jannon breaks the around and finds Nick Slovin for the goal. Observers all check. That is going to count. Blackbird up 10-5 in this game.
Eli Jannon very dangerous with his throws, able to break the mark almost at will.
Looking back at that bid, Simon Higgins is a young player, just 19 years old at this tournament, his first nationals, but he is very tall, very athletic. As you see him reaching out for that disc.
Pretty impressive for a 19-year-old to be out here in finals.
Yeah, and Higgins kind of is a good summary of the entire Polar Bears squad. They're all kind of young players, very athletic. I'm sure they're not liking this win because they're a team that would like to win this game with their legs, with their speed, and the wind is slowing it down. Blackbird, in contrast, a lot of kind of older players who have been playing for a long time, much more confident in their throws, much more comfortable in this slow game where they're able to work the disc methodically.
Yeah, the throwers of Eli Janin, Brian Garcia, very dangerous with their throws. One player I'm surprised we haven't seen out there much is Tyler Grant. He was a fixture on this team last year, played with Revolver, lots of club experience. Now Blackbird in a zone. That's Rady with it. Dumps to Kearns. Kearns to Juan. Juan to Rady. Back to Juan. Breaking through the cup. Juan finds the hole to Kearns. Kearns to Rady.
Not able to get a lot of yards against this Blackbird zone. Doing a good job staying patient. Now Juan in a high stall count situation.
Again, Juan able to find a hole through that zone. Cathley on the sidelines, Dahlman. Dahlman's putting the back end to Kearns. Kearns toes the line. Now Rady unmarked.
Yeah, Blackbird opting to stay in the zone all the way down the field. And it's sometimes you have those instances where a player is able to sneak through without anyone noticing. Eli Kearns still being very, very involved in the celebrations of the goals.
All points this half going downwind, no breaks.
Polar Bears down 6-10. It's not an insurmountable lead to come back from, and especially if they're able to get one of these upwind breaks, that brings them to 7, and they have that easy downwind, could easily bring them to 8. Down 2 going late in the game, a great position to be in. But Blackbird not looking like they're having any trouble handling the wind and handling the defense that Polar Bears is throwing at them.
Now they're unflappable right now. Handlers, strong movement, strong play from Eli Janin, Brian Garcia. You know Garcia is going to be involved in everything that has to do with Blackbird. Here's Garcia marked by Dahlman. Now Janin marked by Rady. Janin putting it out there to Hagan. Kearns is there. The throw rides the wind.
Hagan unable to catch up, and you could see when he's running down for that disc, he has a slight hitch in his leg. Again, he's wearing the pants we mentioned earlier. He's been having hamstring issues, and so he's wearing the pants to keep his leg warm. Now Polar Bears with the opportunity to get that big break that we were talking about.
There's Rady, falls over, hooks it all the way down the field to Captain Marliov.
That floats, but Dahlman is there, and he's going to catch that no problem. Polar Bears gets a big break in the second half, the first break of the second half.
And they got the upwinder. That's a huge one for them. They're able to go 70 yards up the field. Janin takes the shot. The turnover is all the way down the field, forces Polar Bears to earn this break. That throw from Rady, he falls over, finds Marliov.
Yeah, that was a very impressive throw by Rady, throwing the flick upwind while falling over.
After Rady's throw, Marliov finds Dahlman. Dahlman clearly a vocal leader on this team. Now Polar Bears looking downwind. Garcia instructing his team as to what he wants. With the club experience that these players have, one break won't totally kill their momentum, but they know they really need to focus on all their throws, concentrate, stay in balance. Eli Kearns with a forehand pull. It rolls, Slovin knocks it down. Janin picks up. Janin to Garcia. Garcia to Slovin. Back to Garcia. Hagen cutting deep. Garcia putting it to Hagen. Hagen there. Looks like we have a call. Words between Miller and Janin.
Are we going to get another situation where the foul is called away from the disc?
I believe there is a travel call, observer's rule, travel. You see his foot did move. So the disc will stay with Garcia. Garcia marked by Dahlman.
Miller and Janin have been at it all game.
That's Eli Janin's game. He wants to talk to you, wants to get inside your head, take you out of your game, make you mad.
Disc is coming back to Garcia. Blackbird working upwind on offense.
Garcia crossfield throw to Hagen. Looked like that disc was going to sail over his head, but it drops down. Now Hagen to Janin. We have a call on the field.
Again, we were talking about the importance of observers into the future of Ultimate. Here, I think their biggest job is to just keep these calls going through quickly so that the pace of the game will not slow down. Now back in the field.
We do have a call. We have a call, gentlemen.
And
An announcer assisting the players, letting them know that we have a call.
Travel is called.
Again between Janin and Miller. See what like maybe a travel. I don't see how it helped Janin at all.
Contested travel.
There is a contested travel. Blackbird in an offense that resembles a vertical stack.
10-4.
Polar Bears trying to slow down the game. Don't want Blackbird to score quickly. They want their offense on the field as long as possible so they can wear them down. Garcia with the disc. Just outside the brick. Garcia up the field to Hagen. We have a pit call.
nice change of pace in the calls. At least it wasn't a travel.
Hagen keeps the disc. Disc in on 0. Eli on the mark.
Lots and lots of calls as the game moves closer to finding a winner. Now Hagen puts up the lefty, and Eli Janin goes up, snatches it out of the air. Janin uses his big body to create space in the air. Janin finds Mims. Blackbird converts the O point. Big change of momentum for Polar Bears. Trying to slow the game down.
Yeah, great read by Janin. Gets up over Brian Garcia even, skying his own teammate. And then he's just patient until Mims gets open on the live side.
It's helpful for Janin when you've had a Frisbee in your hands pretty much from out of the womb. Big Frisbee family. Of course, his dad, Jay, coaches Oregon. Jacob Janin plays for Rhino, who played at Whitman. Eli played his college days at Eugene, or at University of Oregon. Played his high school days in Eugene with Churchill High School.
In fact, there's this great time in 2007 Club Nationals when Jacob Janin and Eli Janin were playing with Rhino here, and Jay Janin was playing on a Masters team. So all three Janin boys sharing the fields here in Sarasota.
Sure was a special time for them.
Hendrickson to pull for Blackbird.
Hendrickson set to pull for Blackbird. Polar Bears offense now having to work up win. Blackbird doing a good job keeping possession, and this puts a lot of pressure on Polar Bears offense to convert if they want to keep the advantage of the one break that they have in the second half. Scott Roeder bringing this to the brick mark, 25 yards in the center of the field.
Foul called.
Kershaw with the disc. Foul is called on the mark, uncontested. Breaks it across the field. Finds Kirkland. Kirkland looking for Roeder. Catches the win, but Roeder is able to keep possession. Roeder going deep, trying to find Adam Rady. Disc floats. And it looks like Blackbird defender Daniel Gillick gets a hand on it.
Interesting as Polar Bears gets the upwind break, and they force Blackbird to go 70 yards up the field. Blackbird does convert. Now Polar Bears with their first opportunity, going upwind on offense, put it deep.
Gillick, a big grab in the center of the field. Keep possession.
There's Lee.
Lee unmarked. Eli Kearns finally getting into position. And a high count goes for the hammer, and
It's a huge hammer from Lee to Kinsey. Cross-field hammer to the back corner of the end zone. Pinpoint accuracy there. Stall count's getting high. Oftentimes you're forced to stretch your throws, throw something you're not comfortable with throwing. However, Lee there, looks like he's been practicing that one.
yeah, and Blackbird gets the break back in the second half. Polar Bears, when they have that first upwind break, it's very, very crucial that they're able to get the second break. Otherwise, as Blackbird was able to work it up and put it in the end zone, it forced the Polar Bears offense to do the same thing.
Looks like the players are calling timeout. That's Blackbird calling timeout. As the players take a break, we will too.
Welcome back to the 2012 USA Ultimate Championship. We are watching the mixed finals, the first game of our finals coverage today. Polar Bears taking on Blackbird. Polar Bears here on offense after a Blackbird timeout. Scott Roeder with the disc, working against this zone.
Blackbird able to convert that downwind break. Polar Bears had moved the disc upwind, successfully broke Blackbird going upwind. Some adjustments they're going to need to make if they want to come back in this game.
And what a throw across the field to find Lisa Pitcatley. Breaking through the zone, good movement here from Blackbird, from Polar Bear. Juan with the disc on the sideline. At a high count, goes backfield to Kearns. Kearns, another scuba to Pitcatley. Kearns going to Dahlman. Hagan is there. And Dahlman is calling the foul on Andrew Hagan. Hagan's face coming into contact with Dahlman's arm there.
I'll be interested to see this one again. See Dahlman's argument.
I think it's a situation where there was contact, but it was after the disc had slipped past Dahlman.
Players go to the observers. They rule it as not a foul. Blackbird's disc. Now Blackbird with an opportunity to work at 70 yards to get that upwind break. Really put a dagger into Polar Bears' hopes of winning nationals. Blackbird looking to be a 2-time national champions.
Smerling with the disc. Backfield goes to Hodges.
That's Denby with it now. Denby played his college days at Cal Berkeley. Hodges, Smerling, Hodges, Smerling. Smerling looking upfield, not many options. Now forced to put it. Denby's there. However, Kearns with the D, now Dahlman with it.
Scott Roeder picking that one up off the ground. Goes to Dahlman. Dahlman up to Juan. Back to Dahlman. Juan still on that sideline. Polar Bears haven't been able to work it across the field. There, Dahlman finally finds Roeder.
Confused as to what offense Polar Bears is running here. Looks like they have 5 handlers back and 2 cutters downfield, or 4 handlers back and 3 cutters downfield. Very messy offense, not many lanes to cut in. It's no wonder they're keeping it backfield with their handlers. See right now.
It's a pick call on the field. It doesn't affect the throw, so it's going to stay at Eli Kearns. Kearns being marked by Gillick.
Right now it looks like they have 4 handlers and 3 cutters downfield. Now Shankar, the shot to the end zone. Shankar scores for Polar Bears. Opportunity for Blackbird to really put this game out of reach for Polar Bears. They squander it, and Polar Bears capitalize with their O point.
Polar Bears defense now having to play against this so far smooth Blackbird offense. Polar Bears having a tough time stopping Blackbird motion with the handlers.
Especially Eli Jannon and Brian Garcia.
Yeah, a big adjustment.
Some sort of adjustment on those players. Eli Jannon actually has a very sore hamstring. He's pretty immobile. You need to push Eli Jannon up the field. He's not going to hurt you with his legs. Everyone knows he has throws.
Yeah, Garcia and Jannon have been getting the reset almost at will. The defense on those guys really need to put up the pressure so they're not able to just get the disc back and continue controlling this offense. We'll see what Polar Bears can do here as Jannon has it in the middle of the field. And we see a zone look from Polar Bears. Maybe the first zone from them during the day.
That's a 4-man cup. Higgins deep, Bakathily, Marliov playing the lanes. There's Slovin to Mims. Blackbird O cutting through this Polar Bear D. Jannon to Hagan on the sidelines. Back to Jannon. Jannon to Garcia. Garcia just past the brick. Garcia scoobers over the top to Jannon. Jannon watches it into his hands. Jannon finds a lane and hits Slovin.
Blackbird, no trouble with that zone. It seemed like they were able to just throw it right through the middle of the cup, which is the whole point of a zone.
Eli, yeah, you can see a huge hole right there. Someone with the field awareness and vision of Eli Janin will be able to hit those holes, especially in zone offense. I have seen him slice and dice cups. I can remember him going through Florida's four-man cup, throwing many no-look backhands. He knows where the lanes are.
Now Polar Bears going downwind on offense. Needing to score here. Not looking good as they are down 8-13. Tommy Hendrickson set to pull for Blackbird.
Blackbird 2 points away from winning nationals for the second year in a row.
I believe there's only one mixed team previously that has won consecutive mixed championships, the Chad Larson experience. That's a great question. Polar Bears, smooth offense as Dahlman able to hit Lisa Pitcatley.
Easy offense there. 5 throws, and Polar Bears convert on their O point.
Excuse me, I made a mistake saying that the Chad Larson experience had won twice. It was actually the mental toss Flycoons out of Montana.
Out of the Big Sky section. Those players having to drive 2 hours for every hour of practice they're able to get in. They took the #1 seed out of the Northwest region.
The only bid out of the Northwest region, in fact.
Very surprising. Northwest always having a strong mixed scene. However, with the redrawn regions, now the Southwest region is where the strength lies in the mixed division. Got to accredit that to San Francisco's large city league circuit.
Yeah, and as we see, 2 San Francisco teams here in the finals for the second year in the row. Blackbird at 13-9, going downwind on offense. Marliov with the pull.
Garcia to Janin. Hagen out in the lane. Janin finds him. Now Slovin. Blackbird marching it up the field. There's Janin. Janin clears. Slovin looking for a dump. Looks like we have a call.
Great defense by Marliov and Dahlman there. Marliov on Janin, Dahlman on Garcia, and as we had said, they really clamp down when those two don't have the disc, making that reset hard. Slovin stuck on the sideline without his main reset options.
See, as the count rises, so does the pressure. Now Slovin able to dump to Garcia. Garcia marked by Dahlman. Garcia to Janin. Janin with the lefty to Garcia. Garcia to Brimacombe. Dives and maintains possession. Garcia up the line. Garcia looking for Janin. Janin rips a forehand to Slovin just outside the end zone. Now Slovin to Garcia. Both players fall. Janin and Garcia. And there's Brian Garcia finding Mims. That's her 3rd goal of the game. Blackbird knocking on the door for a national championship, be their 2nd one in a row.
Blackbird 14, Polar Bears 9.
Yeah, almost a turnover on the goal line. Garcia is able to make the adjustment and catch the disc just before it hits the ground.
Now that we have some fans here today, like to remind them to please stick around following the end of the game for the presentation of today's championship trophy.
Blackbird D-line,
Will take place in front of the USAU
Gillick,
alphabet
Denby.
behind the
There's
stop
Tyler
gun.
Grant finally in the game. Julie Swizenthal, Schmerling, Bachelder,
I believe you're going for number 8, June Sithanil.
Sithanil. That was way off.
I hope.
Tyler Grant to pull for Blackbird.
Tyler Grant set to pull for Blackbird. Kearns to Roeder. Back to Kearns. Blackbird in a zone set. There's Gillick on the mark. And Hodges. Shankar to Roeder. Shankar, Roeder up the sidelines. Roeder, big backhand all the way across the field to Shaw. Now Kearns back to Shaw. Kearns marked by Gillick. Over to Roeder. Roeder finds Shaw again. Just at midfield, now on the sidelines with Kearns.
Again, Polar Bears not gaining a lot of yards in this zone, but they're being very patient, taking good, easy options.
As Polar Bears creep towards the end zone, Blackbird stays in their zone, forces a throw from Bekathali. There's Gillick with the D. Now Blackbird looking to score and take this game from Polar Bears. Hodges with it. Hodges low backhand. Tyler Grant looking for Gillick. Can't find him, dumps to Hodges.
Blackbird, smooth possession, working this upwind. They don't want to give up this disc on game point possession.
Trying to go upwind. Now Hodges, Dahlman with a huge foot block.
Foot block for Polar Bears.
Shankar with it to Dahlman. Polar Bears players trying to get into position. Shankar with it, back to Dahlman. And Dahlman puts it to Shaw.
Oh,
Shaw, big D, would have been a real nice play from her.
Ball with a nice effort in the end zone. Unable to come up with
Dahlman
it, however.
doing a lot for this Polar Bears team. We saw him fire him up at halftime and gets the big game-saving foot block and trying to take the shot at the end zone just outside the reach of Palak Shah, but still a great attempt. And Tyler Grant trying to throw the huck immediately.
Gillick goes up over Dahlman. Now Gillick to Hodges. Hodges, big fake. Gillick. And Gillick puts it to Tyler Grant, and Blackbird are your 2012 national champions. Second year in a row they've won,
Tyler Grant brings it
both
in.
times beating Polar Bears in the finals. Smooth throws from Eli Janin, Brian Garcia.
Polar Bears 9.
Gillick finding Tyler Grant, his first point of the game. Goes on and scores the break for Blackbird.
Yeah, Blackbird, 2 years as a team and 2 championships. They've got to be happy with that. Taking down their inner city rivals, both teams from San Francisco. And that will conclude our mixed coverage here today. Don't forget to tune in to our women's game starting at 11:45 on the Next Gen Network, and then at 2:15 our open finals. It is championship day here at the 2012 USA Ultimate Club Championships. We'd like to thank our crews, Brian Bedord, Akio Dara, and Tim Gilligan on camera, Vin Bowie, our director, and Kimber Coles, the replay operator. Of course, the executive producer, Kevin Minderhout. I'm here with Jackson Kelsey. I'm Topher Davis. We'd like to thank Elemental Technologies for encoding this game. Please tune in for our coverage later today. Thanks for joining us.